Hello everybody, First Month is here. Today with some really special knife and this issue, what I do now, or special video if you will. It is about this knife. It is ANV P 500, so Acta non verba, so act is better than words, something like that, if I can translate properly. And I already made a news video comparing with my T3 tracker. I'll get to this a little bit later. So I'd like to show you this knife. Maybe I will duplicate some informations which I said on that in news video, so sorry about that, and we go strictly to this. I don't want to waste your time because this knife, that's the point, is not mine. It's lent to me by my friend. So he lent me this one to do tests and these things. So I'm happy for that because I like this knife some kind of, because it has some tracker knife shape, and as you know I like tracker knives, so this could be something like that. So let's start it. It is the ANV is company. I think it's placed in the Czech Republic, so in the middle of Europe. So should be something, I would say, good. It's not some kind of China, absolutely not. And the price isn't really fine for me, even it's very close to me. So that's some disappointing to me. Okay, I'll get to this also a little bit later. Let's start. It came into this leather sheet. They offer Kydex on their top page, web page was offering after about 1 year after they start to produce these. And I believe this one was maybe the very first knife of the company. And I call it as a success because, you know, starting new company, kind of mass production. So, you know, it's not easy to start. If you are a knife maker, it's also very hard, but you just make just one knife there, one knife there, that. And if you say, okay, I go to a factory and I have to buy lots of, let's say, CNCs, because these are of course not handmade, these are CNC, so you have to have lots of money for the start. That's what I mean. Okay, so they came into this leather sheath with these two snaps. Actually, because the knife is about 2 years old, because I recommend to my friend this knife, because I said, okay, what do you want? He said, I like something like this one. So I say, okay, for that, what I've seen here, for the money, for the materials used, this one could be the good choice. And he said, yeah, he likes the knife, he bought the knife, he's very happy with the knife. But with the sheath, see here inside, there is some kind of glue, which, as I understand properly, he sticks there, because when you draw the knife out, so this kind of hook still stick somewhere, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 100, couple of hundred times, and then the stitching goes off, as I said, as I understood properly. So he put some glue. I've been more happy for the Kydex sheath, but it's a little bit remind me the sheath for the Bark River tracker. There are two straps for belt or scouts carrying, which are out. I took them off now, they are in the box. But, you know, reminds me of this one, because as we know, for example, Tops using the Kydex for all the trackers. So I'll be more happy for the Kydex here also. And I made the Kydex sheath for myself for the Bark River. You can see the videos where I got this my sheath actually on the belt. So this is good, nice, you know, nicely rounded, you know, nice stitching. There should be something, I don't know how to call it, but here it isn't. Also, I like to have some, I don't know how you call that, some another piece of metal, as I said, going through. I don't know how to say that, I forget it. Here, just to be secure on the tip. It is not here, okay. But okay, it's good sheath. Go to the knife. It's made of Sleipner steel. So, as you know, one of my favorite, some mid-range, and maybe kind of a little bit higher than mid-range, because somebody says it's improved D2 steel. It's partially rust resistant, it's wear resistant. You know, I did the test with Lion Steel M5, which is made of the steel. Lion Steel generally makes the knives out of Sleipner, and I'm really glad for the steel. So that will be one kick for me. Why should I buy this knife if I say, okay, I want it? Because it's not AUSA, this is not D2 like the D2, definitely not any Chinese HCR and these things. Sleipner steel, great steel, absolutely. I'm very happy with that. And G10 is absolutely all right. So modern materials, I would say, not the top high end, but definitely good. Now I stay with the price. You can buy this knife for about 237 US dollars. That's price for me in my country. Maybe in the US you get better price, because sometimes gonna happen, which I don't understand, because as I said, it's few hundred kilometers from me, no shipping, no the taxes coming from that, from if I take something from overseas. I don't know, forget the name. Okay, I'll leave it out today, sorry. So not really cheap, because I've seen today, I think it was not Blade HQ, but some of the page was a T3 tracker, and I tell you why I compare with T3 tracker for 230, 225, so very close price to that. So yeah, both premium materials, 154 cm, micarta handles, as I said, Sleipner and these things. Okay, so the price definitely is not, it is not cheap knife, especially if I can buy it here without any special taxation, I would say, without any special money, and even shipping will be $5 or something like that. So I don't know about the price. If that will be cheaper, I will think about it more, but for this price, I'm not sure. Even, as I said, I kind of like it. Okay, go to the knife. I'll give you specs. I got the help here, so, because as I said, I don't want to waste your time. So it's they call it as a blade style tracker or kukri. That's what I got. It's made of Sleipner, as I said, and that's interesting. They harden it for 58 HRC, so not as hard as some companies do. For example, the Lion Steel should be on 60 HRC, so 2 degrees more high. Okay, that's shorter knife, maybe because of that, but I'm glad for it, because 58 is, for me, in these days, I'm happy for it, because it says something, you know, it will hold an edge, but it will be not a deadly hard. So yeah, I can make it dual after using, but usually I can also put an edge quite easily, you know, depend on steel, but on the Sleipner, definitely. And it won't be that able break as easy as maybe if that will be too hard for the length and for the chopping purposes, because of the length it asks for some chopping. So 58 is for me all right, and I don't really need for myself any knife to have over 58 as my experience goes. Only if that will be a really short blade, specially made for carving, and this where I say, okay, I sacrifice the toughness and I want to have really good edge for a long time. Okay, it has satin finish, and you can see it's used. As I said, it's 2 years old, so definitely there's some using on it. Handle color black, as we got. And what's important, overall length is 33 centimeters. As you can see, I'll show you after this, comparing among my trackers, and is very close to Bark River tracker, just really very close. And that's the longest tracker I have. And maybe as it even exists in normal, maybe somebody may, you know, huge tracker, but I mean the generally standard trackers you can buy. So sorry. So 33 centimeters or 13 inches overall length. You got a 19 centimeters blade, which is true. I checked it out. So it is from the handle from here to the very tip. So the blade is about 17 and a half centimeters. So somewhere, I'll tell you, all the 7.5 inch is the overall blade, 7.5. So without that, it will be about 6 and 3/4, somewhere like that will be the real edge. So quite long knife for standard. Definitely, if you go the K-bar will be much shorter. I mean, all length of K-bar will be, I guess, something like that. So that's something, if you talk this one as a fighter. But again, a little bit later to that. The thickness, as I said, is 5 millimeters, and it's nicely rounded here. Nicely, that's it for someone when you use it, you rest your thumb here, so it's all right. But of course, you won't make sparks with this knife. You will see it on the in-use video. They put it 2.2 of an inch. My experience is more 0.19. Okay, and weight of the knife, and that's really, is 377 grams. 377 grams, or 13 ounces. With the sheet, of course, I didn't put it in a scale, but it will be about 4 ounces more, about just like that. Why I stick this knife with this knife is both of them has same thickness, so 0.19, 0.19, or 0.2 of an inch, or 5 millimeters, both of them. And that's important. Out of the trackers, or my trackers actually, this one has almost 400 grams, a little bit less, 396, and this one has 377. So these two knives are very close in the weight, less than 1 ounce. So that's why I compare them. Same thickness and very close weight. That's why. And because this one has some tracker shape, and also they call it as a cookery tracker blade. So that's why I took this one tracker and compare this one, how you can feel, I'll say, which one should be better if you can buy this one. I checked actually DLT Trading and Blade HQ just before 15 minutes, say, and I couldn't find any ANV knives there. But maybe in USA, because I've seen, I believe, 1 or 2 videos, like a test, or maybe an advertising video on some US pages. So probably there is some market in the US where you can buy this knife. Of course, in Europe, it shouldn't be a problem. So that's why I compare these, as I said. And you'll see on that, it's very interesting. And of course, you got the long grinding. This one, much more longer than this. You can see it. I won't say it's twice as long, but because the same thickness, it's about plus 50% moment. So I brought some equipments. Measurement equipments actually. So the draw knife is 7 centimeters exactly, so it is almost 3 inches, so 2.6 inches, I believe, if I said it properly, is the draw knife. So absolutely the longest. As I know, the Bark River and T1 has 6 centimeters, both of them, and this, the T3 actually, I little bit prolonged it, and this one has less than 5.5, so shorter. That's what you say. Okay, that's great, because you can slice more easily, and because the long grinding, which is 2.3 centimeters, so almost 1 inch of this grind of this is the saber grind, and flat grinding. There's no hollow or even convex, with nicely, especially here, with nice secondary bevel, as you can see on all the blade. And I'll try it in here. .6 and 0.63 of an inch, and I say almost 1 inch, so I'll change it, or 16.1 millimeter. So 16.1 to 6 millimeters longer about. With same thickness, this one has 6 millimeter longer grinding. And of course, what I want to say is the secondary bevel, sorry, and I think is original, nobody changed that. 0.6, that's hard to believe. Yes, 0.7. Yeah, it's 0.6, yes. It's 0.6 on the draw knife, and a bit more on the chopping blade. Sorry, I have to be careful. I put an oil on it before, so it's kind of slip, and 0.8. It looks for me like 0.8 of millimeters, so 0.6 here and 0.8 here. That's interesting because on most of my knives, 0.8 is standard slicing edge, as I said, and all around the knife. And this one should be even more. If that will be 1 millimeter with nice grinding, it will be more more tough for hard using, for hard chopping, which you expected for that. What is nice on this knife is you got this portion, we can call it a sweet spot when you chop. This one you got nice, let's say 2 inches, it's even more. No, let's say 2 inches is fine. 2 inches is somewhere here, your sweet spot. When you really got the nice, you can grip the knife or grab the knife here. All my hand goes there, and because this one kind of hook, I would say, when I grab this one, as I did, I tried that yesterday, I chopped very hard with this knife, and it's there. My friend got the slashing here. I don't like it. It always danced around me. I don't need it when I grab this knife. It's really secure there, so you don't need it. Only if you want to move even further. Yeah, then okay. So for that, let's say for the 3 fingers, get a little bit more blade. But if you grab it here, you can do really powerful chopping without any problems of slipping. That's very important. As you can see, the handle is flat. So if there will be a bit contouring here, it will be even better in hand, but it's all right. It's all right, definitely. I didn't find any hot spots, any problems with when I chopped. So it's very comfortable. And as you can see, it's nicely rounded, as I said, in with the blade. You can see some kind of making of fine tip. There's still pieces of wood when I smashed it when we did batonic. Even I used the WD-40, it's still there. And tip is nice and reinforced, I would say. It's not definitely thin. It's not definitely thin, but nice for drilling. You'll see that. Very nice for that. The hook, which is something we normally use with the trackers, doesn't work exactly as I expected, and because I saw the design, it doesn't work as normal people. We say trackers, they say, that's the tracker, so it will be used for this one. For me, because I got the trackers, I said, okay, I got some kind of questions about this one, if this one will work as I want, and it doesn't, as I said. So because the hook is simply too small. This angle is excellent when you go. It works kind of like a recurve. So when you slice, it bites here more deep, and then it goes off. But when you use it for as a draw knife, when you want to make some shavings, some kindlings, it doesn't work like with the tracker you will see on the other in-use video, and this one is better for it. That was interesting, but as I said, it was something I could expect. So about the knife itself, even this choil, which is I believe about 2 centimeters, so 0.8 of an inch. Yes, exactly, I got it in my eye already, because this is standard size of choil which are made from different companies for the index. Many companies makes in this size and it looks similar. This one is it's interesting version of the tracker. It works better as machete, like say if I want to go through any bush and even I grab it for the 3 fingers, I say I want to have longer blade. This one is the best out of all trackers I had because the thinner and longer and this nice swedge here. So this one really goes to the branches really nicely. There's nice swing. It has some weight, as I said, even as light as about 30-70 grams for the size and for the length where you get the power in the end. It works simply. It's short, but okay. So for the trackers, as a machete, I think it's best out of all trackers I had and tried. For the hawk, as I said, it's the worst tracker, as I said, out of the trackers. As a tip for drilling, is the best tracker as I had in my hand because we can't compare some kind of sharpness of tip, even with this swedge also, how we call it, the grinding here, and but with still some rip. You can see there's still some rip to reinforce the tip. This is of course different story. Even the Bark River tracker is absolutely that tip. We can call it dull if in a term of using, let's say, for self-defense, or if that will be somebody say, okay, that could be a nice military knife, it has this as I said recurve, which is good for slicing, not as aggressive as the trackers, but okay. But with this tip, absolutely, and for the size, the weight isn't definitely bad. 375 grams or 377 is definitely not that heavy because you got a longer blade, so but still manageable. The point of balance is in front, so is in the place of the choil, so not as a standard which is normal here, but in forward in the choil. So when you grab the knife here, you would all you immediately have a chopper. You feel that on the T3 tracker and all the top tracker, all the point of balance is somewhere just behind the line of the micarta, so a little bit more to the handle, but okay. Here, so also just behind the micarta handle, so here. So out of all the trackers I have, this one has the forward moved point of balance, but because it is the lightest and almost the longest, as I said, compared to the Bark River, you see that there's not really much. The blade is same because this is 19 centimeters, this is 19 also. Just the handle, as you can see on the tracker, on the Bark River tracker, is even longer for a half inch or something like that. Because the contoured handle here, especially the white part, when you grab it here, you can feel it even more secure, but there is no texture. That's another point. There's no texture on it. This is nicely polished, as I said. That's why I got the tape here. If you got sweaty hands, it slipped. Not here, not here. There is kind of texture. That's something like that. The knife was it was nicely sharp, even it's used. My friend keeps it sharp enough for wood processing, absolutely, and I guess for paper slicing, but not as fine as I got on my knives, but not too far. There is a maybe you can see that. Yeah, there is some edge damage here. He found a nail, as I said, he chopped some wood and there was a nail. So he found a nail and he said he chopped the nail in twice, but there is a little mark. It is there, you can see that, 2 millimeters, but definitely not something what you couldn't expect from that side. As I said, this is 0.8 of millimeters, this is 0.6, so this is really slicing edge. 0.8 is, as a dedicated chopper, I would go for 0.9, even 1 millimeter thick blade here with the same grind, and that will be more, it will be slightly heavier, but not really much, but it will be more durable. And if I would think about this knife as a fighting knife or knife for military purposes, I think with the more pronounced guard here, which I don't call this one really as a guard actually, so it will be definitely better. If there will be some black version, and as I know there is not at the moment, so that will be better, of course, for that, because in the other hand it's nice and pointy, slicey, that's all right. And general for like camp, for military camp use, even the knife is quite long, not as heavy as normally, but it's long simply. But for somebody it could be all right, especially in a forest area, even jungle area. Sleipner still is all right for that, even with the black coating, as I said, so that will be great. And if we want to go more to tracker knife, if there will be plus 5 millimeters or even 1 centimeter, so 10 millimeters here, so that is 0.2 or 0.4 of an inch here, and then naturally it would goes to it would go, sorry, to the tip. Then it becomes kind of standard, or say standard, more a tracker knife. It definitely helps to the hawk here to use it as a standard. Trackers do these things normally. As I said, the T3 is alright for that, but not this one. Okay, there is no the saw back here, but as you can see, the blade drops down quite fast, so there is not really space for the sawback. I like it there, but not so many people like it, and anyway here isn't the sawback, unfortunately, also, and it works, so it will be really nice, something as a fighter and tracker knife, some combination of that, because I like the point here, because that's something what I really miss on the tracker. Actually, as we know, on Tops makes the SXB, the big version, and sorry, the shorter version, and you know, there is kind of drop point even is grinded from the other side like this one with the saw and generally the pronounced hawk. And I guess those knives those knives go to this way, so this is better for that. If you think about this one more as a military knife, if you want to go just a bush knife, or so just and forest, this is absolutely fine. I'll be glad if I'll have the tip there, not only for some kind of stabbing or fighting purposes, but just I want to drill through some wood, or even also just some material because I want it. Okay, I could have some another knives, but you know, it goes that way. Okay, that will be great. So something in the end, premium materials, G10 Sleipner steel, 58 HRC. The leather sheath is alright, handling is great, the performance as a chopper, as a slicer, you will see on that in-use video, is great. The price isn't as good as I said, but it's about 2/3 of price of this. And because this is Sleipner, I call Sleipner on a high level, or I put in my mind is Sleipner on a higher level than 1095, so all 1095 knives goes under that, because that steel, of course, if I say all of them equally treated, I mean the heat treatment and these things, then Sleipner is above that 1095 for me. I would say maybe that is better it's better holding edge, but this is more rust resistant, it's tougher. This is generally tool steel, so it's great. That's for me. Maybe I'm wrong that, but I like it, and the performance I saw with the Sleipner is absolutely great. So that recommendation for this knife, absolutely. If you like the design, you want to go more to that general use, then let's say that tracker, which is heavier, as I said, even with the size difference, which is heavier, about 1 ounce, less than 1 ounce. And this one is generally better slicer and better chopper for thin branches, as I said, more machete task. But this one, probably because my grinding, when you carve, this one works better. It was a surprise for me. You'll see that. Okay. So we'll see. Now I show you some the comparing of the trackers side by side. So we got here some of my trackers, originally nearly all of them, almost all of them. So you can see the left top is the Bark River tracker. The second down is that P500 ANV. Under that is the T1 tracker, then T3 tracker, and then T2 tracker, made by Tops, of course. So just now, I showed you the sheets there, but they are not as important as the knives. So T2 I just placed here just to you can see the real difference in length and generally in the weight, but you can see the weight different, but that will be all right. So I removed the T2 now because it's out of that kind of competition, and I will stick all these four together, and you can see thickness different. So we've got you can see more the length difference. So as we can see, the Bark River on the top is the thickest one, 6.7 is a quarter of an inch. Then the Actown Verba P500, 5 mils, 5 millimeters or 0.19. Then we got the T1, so quarter of an inch, 6.5 millimeters. And we got the last one, the T3 tracker, also 0.19 on or 5 millimeters. But we got weight 600 here grams, 600 here grams on T1, and this one has, as I said, 375, and this one has almost 400 grams. I won't say it today now in ounces because I don't know, I should recount it, but the numbers just should give you some scaling about the weight. So even this one is the second longest and it's really closing the longest tracker I have. So it is the lightest all of these. So if I set this now in the order of the weight, so I'll stick them 1, 2, 3. So if I say, okay, how is the scale of the weight? So the most of heavy, the second, the third, and this is the lightest. The ANV is the lightest. And if I show you price scaling, it will be just this. That will be the difference. This is that's the difference now. So this is the longest, but the lightest and the cheapest out of these. Okay, so that's enough for now. And that's generally it. So you've seen the comparing, size comparing. You heard what I think about the knife, the price and materials and everything like that. It's up to you. If you can buy this knife, it will be not as expensive as, let's say, many other knives with premium materials. It's question. If you ask me if I buy, let's say, this one or this one, I go absolutely for the Bark River. They do better these hawks today. So definitely, if I want to have more a tracker knife, this is excellent knife for these things. But if I want to have something more in standard, as I said, more general, then this one could be better choice, made of, I would say, super material for me. Not the super high end, but definitely great. So thank you very much. Have a nice time and bye.